Good morning, everybody. So my name is Nina Kerkez, and thank you for a brief introduction. I am working within RELX with an entity called LexisNexis Risk Solutions, specifically focusing on the fight against financial crime. And my responsibility is of a strategic nature, looking at how we can help financial crime compliance. Now, financial crime is normally kind of seen in, kind of moving dirty money around. So through placement, layering, and integration of kind of illegal proceeds. And those illegal proceeds normally come from drug trafficking, human trafficking, arms proliferation, terrorism financing, and other challenges as such. Now, today, financial institutions and other obliged entities, so entities that have to comply with laws and regulations, they absolutely have to be compliant with various different challenges that these regulations are calling from them. These regulations are very different in different jurisdictions. But we know that within the EU, there are directives, and all the member states convert these directives into laws. And most obliged entities rely on multiple sources of technology and data to enable financial crime prevention. So they would set the policies that are obviously responding to those laws and regulations. And those policies will be followed by technology and data to help prevent money laundering. Now, this is a very interesting topic, and I want to look a little bit around the costs of compliance. So it's not easy to comply with all of the regulation. There is a lot of regulation globally, and a lot of the institutions actually have to comply with various types of regulation. So not just, let's say, EU institutions, they not only have to comply with EU directives, but they also, should they be trading with US dollars or any other currencies, often have to comply with foreign regulation as well. Now we can see here that UK and Germany are spending a significant amount of money as countries trying to comply with various different regulatory requirements in fight against financial crime, so in fight against money laundering and prevention of it. And we've seen that normally, as I mentioned, given the increase of complex regulatory requirements, some data privacy limitations, sanction violations, and labor costs, okay? And I think that's what's really interesting to kind of zoom in a little bit here. Oftentimes, it's not very easy to comply with regulation, and some technology that is being used by obliged entities such as financial institutions could be a little bit outdated and actually throws a lot of false positives to the analysts that are reviewing this data and reviewing the information that's presented in front of them. And I'll talk about false positives in a second and explain what they are. But my point is, if technology is failing, what's kind of natural for us to do is to throw people at the problem. So what we've seen with the research that we've performed is that a lot of these obliged entities more or less spend roughly the same amount of money on actually labor. So significantly more is spent on labor over technology. And labor is critical. All of these decisions at the end of the day absolutely have to be made by humans. And I think that's very important to stress. But technology is an enabler that actually allows humans to kind of make some of those informed decisions. Okay, so how are we addressing that issue within RELX and within LexisNexis Risk Solutions? So I mentioned false positives. So let me just introduce that concept very briefly. When people are kind of being screened or monitored for onboarding purposes, oftentimes there are some common names in the market. I mean, we can say, I don't know, let's say Don Smith, common names in the market. And when they're pushed through these systems, they can create an alert for analysts. All the analysts absolutely have to review all of the alerts. That's the regulatory requirement. So they have to review them and remediate against them. Now, a lot of times for such a common name, it's not actually the person that you are trying to onboard or bank with. So this creates a false positive. And false positive reduction is a huge issue in the market, and it carries huge compliance burdens. We see that financial institutions are taking a really long time to actually onboard these customers. And main challenges with false positive reduction is the failure in organizations to manage those large volumes of data and to actually accurately analyze it, okay? So what we are doing with our technology is trying to automate some of those false positives reviews to an extent. So some of those entities that are clearly returning results which are false positives are being automatically closed. So let me show you what that actually looks like in practice. So we are looking at the ways, as I said, how we can reduce the false positives through a module within our systems that is called Intelligence Match Decision Solution, IMDS for short. And so we are looking at different attributes that are associated with these entities to make those decisions whether these are false positives or not. Attributes such as name, date of birth, gender, address, so on and so forward. So let me give you an example here. I have used a data set of 10,000 names, so 10,000 names, UK entities, and I have screened them or pushed them through our system or software with the IMDS solution turned on and turned off, so the AI element turned on or off. When I have turned on the IMDS, the results, as you can see, are significantly lower than those when the AI is turned off. So with the AI turned off, I had over 5,000, almost 6,000 alerts because there were some common names, perhaps, or some matches that needed further review. With it turned on, we got roughly 460 alerts. So significant decrease in the number of alerts that actually have to be reviewed. So what would an alert look like? Here, as an example, I have Victoria Yasmin Mitchell, a lady that lives somewhere in the UK. All of these names are made up for the purposes of demonstration here. So Victoria has matched against Victor Mitchell, who is a politically exposed person in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, these are completely unrelated and have nothing to do with each other. Politically exposed people are those that are obviously working in political positions, you guys included, and often this becomes kind of a challenge for you and the members of your families because sometimes you might get contacted and asked questions about whether you are trying to open accounts, and oftentimes it's not you, like in this case here. So with our IMDS solution, so with the use of artificial intelligence, we have automatically closed this alert for our customers and said, look, this is not the person that you're looking at. And it's clear that it's not that person. So if we look at the screen here, the reason codes are telling us that the name didn't match correctly, there was a gender conflict, and there was a country conflict. So the alert goes and gets completely closed and dismissed for our customers. So that's kind of what I wanted to show around how artificial intelligence works in the fight of financial crime. But what we have to remember is that there is a pressure for compliance for companies to do compliance right. Compliance misses carry huge reputational and financial risks. But what I think is really important to think is how we can leverage these new technologies to augment intelligence about our customers, about customers of financial institutions, so that we can provide the right information for them in the future when they're making informed decisions about these institutions. Most importantly, you guys as regulators need to have a peace of mind as well. So these technologies have to be explainable. So we have to be able to explain exactly what the technology is doing, and our systems absolutely allow for that. We have to maintain that risk-based approach. So we need to decide what it is that we're going to do, document what we are doing, and then execute on it consistently. They need to be performant and reviewed on a continuous basis. Our technology is using supervised machine learning, so supervised AI. And ultimately, artificial intelligence or machine learning or technology should also not be the sole basis of an enforcement action. So obliged entities like financial institutions, like asset management companies, have to rest assured that the technology is actually making the right decisions for them. But ultimately, all of those alerts, which are a bit trickier, have to have that human judgment to it, and will always be sent to one of their analysts for a review. So thank you, Dragos. That's all that I wanted to share with you guys today.